Hello, people of the world watching internet videos that have to do with cars. Welcome to this 1974 RA21 Toyota Celica ST, which I restored for my dad, and is powered by none other than the 2UZ VVTi V8 out of his old Toyota Tundra. If you're new here or you missed out on previous videos on this car, up above my head is possibly a link to the playlist to get you caught up, or it could be a ceiling. I don't know if this is gonna reach. Before I can do anything to this car though, I have to take care of an issue. Use some of my Sud Bubble.
If there's one piece of advice I can pass on to all of you is no matter what type of work you're about to perform on a vehicle, the first step should always be washing it before you do anything else.
Don't worry about the fact that I got water underneath the cabinets. Not gonna grow another one.
Not only does it help keep you clean, but it'll also prevent you from introducing foreign object damage to the systems in which you are working on. Yes, that clearly sounds like I came from the Air Force when I say something like that, but still, it's a good practice.
There, 2.5 hours later, the daily's cleaned too. Out of the things I have left to do on the Celica, Are You Gag Babbleberry, the most difficult one I have to do would probably be the cam phaser situation. I don't have new cam phasers for it yet, but so I'm gonna not worry about that right now. I almost have this wrapped up. Almost. It almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. That cavity up inside there is where the factory wiring used to go. This is the original location of the original fuse box. But I now have about 4 times as many wires that need to go up inside here without impeding the clutch area. I feel like I got this situation all wrong right here. So there's part of the equation. See how the harness is tucked right up underneath there? Well, originally I had designed it to be over on this side and get tied in right there and kind of go in gradually. So if I start tugging on this, that's what he said. Oh, much, much better. Okay. I'll use this to hold it out. Da-da-da! This right here is a genuine OEM wire harness clip that was used on this car, brand new from the factory. So, you just stick that inside there. Oh man, the harness might be too fat now to fit.
Force pulling.
Got it. This car originally had a CB radio in it that was mounted right here to this bracket, and I repurposed this as the ECU mount since this car never had an ECU like this. Oh, that's gonna be sweet because that keeps the wires tight. Still soft shock mounted. Oh, that's perfect. That looks so good too. It literally looks like it's meant to be there. Like I was gonna make the brackets black, but I think little bits of silver, it just kind of fits with the era and style of the car. What made the wiring extremely difficult on this project is, unlike most people that swap modern engines into classic vintage cars, I didn't go for modern gauges to go with the modern wiring and modern ECU. I made everything work with the original 1974 gauges, and then to add insult to injury, I wanted the engine bay fuse box to look period correct as much as possible, so I used one from a 1985 Celica and then did all the wiring so that way you could still use an 85 Celica schematic, but meshed it to mate up with a 74 dash harness and then the 2005 Toyota V8 engine harness with the standalone ECU. So it was difficult to make the wire lengths all come together perfectly under the dash without looming everything permanently, which I didn't want to do until the car was finalized and running. So you can see that it was hard. This is the sucky part. Speedometer. You gotta be kidding me. I literally got it first try. So if you look down inside the dash right here, in the center of the screen, you can see what looks like a black piece of bacon. It's rubber and it must go around a black plastic sleeve on the back of that vent. Once again, this task will be performed by shoving my ass up my ass. Ow. Ow. Ouch. Got it. I think I got it.
Nothing a little elbow grease and ruptured spinal discs can't fix.
I've been putting off the rest of the stuff I had left to do this Celica because this is like the suckiest jobs to do, and they're not very easy to film. Last ground. I don't really need to wrap plastic around a ground, but it does make it look a little bit more presentable under here. Not that anyone's gonna be looking under here, but like, I don't want it to look like a slob did it. All right, nothing is in the way. Ta-da! I no longer have a bundle of mess underneath the dash. That was one of the hardest things I've had to do yet on this car. I don't want to get too excited though, because I still have, this is just silly. I need to put a shift knob on this thing. I don't have everything hooked up yet, but I want to make sure nothing is smoky. Okay, that's, door lights are on, that's good. Hey, my tack works. That's a plus. That wasn't working before, it was messed up. Gauges all light up, ammeter's working, fuel gauge is working. That's all good. I just gotta hook up the ground underneath there.
Now's the time to see how much satisfaction you can get for your money.
It's the following day, and unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to get work done today because I have to go to the dentist. Inside this package is bank number 2.
I can't wrap up the work under the dash until I accomplish this part of the task.
So when I had this thing up in Phoenix on the dyno, the tuner pointed out that I really should have 2 O2 sensors, one for each bank of cylinders, so you could see independently what each side of the engine is doing. Makes a lot of sense. Shit, where'd that go? Found it. Oh, it came with one. Also has some robot toothpaste on it. Do not lick the sensor. Just in case there was any confusion on that, wanted to clarify. Oh yeah, I put Loctite on all the hardware on the heat shield because I didn't want it to rattle and fall off. Lambda must get removed. I forgot how much this part sucks. I think I had to de-pin the plug to get it through the firewall there. I'm sorry, you're not gonna be able to see this. This is really hard to film. Going back up.
Own the new Datsun Turbo Z car and you own the road.
It's following day, I'm back from the dentist. I wouldn't have been able to talk because I'm gonna reverse twist this so that way it doesn't bind. I gotta screw these in down below before I attach them up top so that way I know if it's gonna reach or not. Perfect. Ideally, I'd put it above this plate because that will protect it, but that's also going to create a chafe rub issue. Anyone that works in the aviation industry or has thick thighs or rides things with 2 wheels and wears tight fitting clothes can appreciate the importance of proper chafing protection. I might be overthinking this. I don't know if those zip ties will survive the heat though from the header. No. Like everything on this car, custom fabrication is required. That's really hot on my thigh. Didn't really dress for that today. Let's heat treat this a bit. I give it a little splash of zinc real quick. I wallowed out the holes a little bit on this taberdoodle. There's a perfect little round spot in the side of the transmission bell housing right here that will give it a nice smooth transition so it can't really rub. Squeeze it and angle it the way I need it. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I squeezed it just a little bit, made it oval so it's about the same size as the jacket, so that way there's not enough wiggle room for it to move around inside there. Still got enough slack that it can come down and up and down. So, should be good. Getting this up above my heat shield is not easy. This would be way easier if the header out, but man, is it not fun. Got it. Okay, it's over the top of the heat shield. I think that'll work. I don't want to screw that in yet, just in case. So I've had these curing in the sun for a couple hours now, which are the custom front inner fender brackets that attach to the backside of the flare. It's really hard to see this on camera, but I coated them in a 2K bed liner so that way they're chip resistant. Since they're gonna live inside the wheel wells where there'll be constant rocks and stuff getting thrown up at them. Okay. Turn that. Clearance is clearance. It's all that matters. It's close, but it fits.
Now that that problem's solved, it's time to make my spine the next one.
Now that I know that it fits up inside here. Oh man, that is close. Geez, that is close. It fits. I literally, the plug is like, I won't have to zip tie anything up. It is perfect where it comes out. That is luck. That is the plug, and that's where it goes. That is perfect. Luckily, it came with a second set of pins, so I don't have to do this sloppily to connect the other one. This needs to get done into multiple plugs. It bothers me that I don't have more pins and plugs to redo all this differently, because I'm not super in love with the way I routed the CAN bus plugs, and I feel I could do it better in hindsight now. This is like a 22 gauge wire. It's super small because this stuff is really low amperage. The wire I ran to this plug is 18 gauge, so it's way thicker. So just to be safe, I'm tying in the second O2 CAN circuit at the head of the wiring harness, so that way it's the closest to the larger gauge supply wires. It's just not as neat as I wish I could have done it, but I'm adding this after the fact, and that's what kind of happens. Even though there's nothing near this of a power source, just because it is a CAN circuit, I'm gonna wrap it in a ESD tape. Try to make this look a little bit more presentable. There, harnesses are complete. It's the final broken spine, do-do-do-do. And that cable goes, there goes that goes to that. It would be dumb of me to put this all back together without first testing that side. Radio comes on with key, got it. Oh, it's on AM. Yeah! Blinded by the light. All right, stereo sounds fantastic. Sounds better now it's been rebuilt. Now let's see if everything else works. Tack sweeps, that's good. Scan gauge is working. Lights look good. I swear nothing will give you a harder taste of the member berries than listening to cassette era music on an FM radio cassette player. It just hits different. It's like going to Italy for some pasta in Vino Rosso versus eating Olive Garden and getting the shits later. The final 0.5% of an actual car build is the most time-consuming, feeling like you're making no progress work ever. You find yourself staring at a car for months that looks like it's 100% complete, but it's not. This is the sole reason why I started on the CRX project and didn't really wrap this up, because I knew the last part of this was going to be very difficult to do, and YouTube automotive algorithms do not promote real life. There. Aside from the screws that I lost that hold the bezel into the dash, which I gotta find or replace, the wiring is now all tucked up underneath the dash. Fuse box is in place, ECU is in place, relays are in place. At one point in time, I had this all organized and I knew where everything was. Extra badge. No. Possibly. Oh yeah, completely forgot about that. Yep, that works. That saying death by 1,000 paper cuts, that's what the last part of this project feels like. Death by 1,000 bolts. Little rubber doodads. That goes right there. Same thing with this one. I don't know why it's taking me so long to install these, because they're kind of critical for the hood to open and close correctly. Just to be a little bit extra careful, I'm actually going to use some dielectric grease. It's just silicone.
Even though this car will never get driven in the winter, it doesn't hurt to do a little extra above and beyond to make sure it repels moisture in areas that it doesn't belong, kind of like your armpits.
You can see it's nice and stable. There's no longer any side-to-side little vibrations. Give it a pop. Oh, it's so butter. This, unfortunately, was the easy task of the two major mechanical things I had to address before sticking it back on the dyno one last time. The next part is way more involved. So as many of you are aware, this is a VVTi, Variable Valve Timing Intelligent 2UZ from 05 Tundra. I know it's confusing because it has the metal intake manifold. Usually they're plastic on those engines, but this is from a 3UZ Lexus powered car. I did that for the slightly better clearance height-wise. Still has ASIS, and it just looks more fitting in a car from the 70s being made out of metal rather than plastic. Now underneath these caps, which are the original ones from my dad's truck, and yes, it's the following day, I've been dreading doing this job because it is massive. It's not going to be easy or fast. I really don't want to have to take the radiator and the nose of this car off, but there's a possibility that's going to have to happen to do this. So this little pack right here is the control portion of the variable valve timing solenoid cam phaser. In case you didn't watch the video where this was on the dyno, I'll put a link to it up above. this system functions is there is an oil control valve which meters and distributes the oil pressure to that cam phaser. So this is kind of a cutaway looking inside that cap. You can see the camshaft is bolted directly on the inside of that cam phaser, which essentially on the inside has a series of Teflon scrapers with little springs behind them that press outward on the outer portion of that cap. And then the oil pressure comes in one portion, which is divided into separate chambers internally, and then will cause the cam to rotate and shift as needed for the changes in the variable valve timing. Now, if this were to wear out, what likely would wear out is those little Teflon scrapers on the inside that have springs behind them, because that needs to push out and separate those chambers internally so that way it can function with the oil pressure. Also, oil control valves would cause that, but he did replace them while it was on the dyno and it made no difference. So in order to perform this job, the timing belt and accessories up front must be removed. And even though this is a brand new timing belt, I'm probably gonna have to replace it because I'm now taking the tension back off of it again. Then the valve covers must be removed. The cam caps and the oil control tubes internally must be removed. The main cam cap has to be removed, as well as the oil screen for the oil control valve. And then the intake cams have to come out of the engine and disassembled to replace that little tube at the very end. And just in case any of you are watching right now are well versed in Toyota VVTi systems, perhaps you're more familiar with the 2JZ or the 1UZ, for whatever reason, the 2UZ engines have a fairly different design internally on that cam phaser than what you'd find on those other engines. So inside this box right here is a little something I was waiting till the end to do, which I felt were vital to really make this feel like an OEM Plus build. Factory service labels from the Tundra. Some of my secret sauce I've been hiding from you guys for the longest time now, my new glass cleaner, Nice Glass. It's ammonia based. Give this a good wipe down. Boom. I want to make sure this is level. That's more OE looking. Keep in mind that this has a curvature to it and that is angled subsequently to match. This has to be parallel with the engine and with the ground. I know someone caught on to this, like, Sarah, you didn't finish the O2 sensors. I'm gonna twist this. Get all my fingerprints off of these. Torque O2s, done. Hood stoppers, done. All parts are on order. And this box right here is another genuine Toyota part, which is oil pressure gauge sending unit. The sending unit on the engine right now is for the original 18R 4-cylinder, which didn't make quite as much oil pressure as this built 2UZ does. And subsequently, it's pegging out my gauge, and I think I toasted that little sender. Inevitably, I'm gonna get oil all over the place doing this, so love getting a quarter turn on. Old one, new one. Yeah, I didn't lose but a drop. Oh, the blood's coming out of my arms. So as of right now, while you're watching this video, I have ordered all the parts from Toyota that I needed for that phaser swap out job, including the phasers. I got a set from Toyota. And the next video you see on this thing will be that job, as well as a little fiberglass repair. I gotta do this flare right here, as well as a couple little onesie twosies to get this thing completely dialed in before I send it off to my dad, which from last I understood, there's still quite a bit of snow in New Hampshire, so at least I have time. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon with another. Bye.